Hey guys, how are you? Good morning. Make sure you have your cameras on, please. Very good. All right, so sound check. I see you guys can hear me. Visual check, second time. Is this good? You guys can see the screen? All right, perfect. So, see a few faces, familiar faces. Cameras on, please. Cameras on. Those of you that don't have the camera on, you have to have it. All right, so we're gonna start with addressing a few things real quick. There are a few questions here already. All right, let's see. Who do I have? I have Amy, David, Lee. Raise. If I mispronounce your name, just let me know. Start waving your hands and let me know I'm wrong. Okay. I got Rocio. I got Daniil. Reza. Phelan. First or second? Phelan. First, Phelan. Okay, great. Carlos, Olga, Romello, Elda, and Chidera. All right, cool. So guys, you need to have your cameras on. If you're doing this for the, and I got David too, I see you. If you're doing this for the first time, then the hours for them to count, real quick before I address this, for the hours to count, you need to have your cameras on. That's very, very important. That's crucial. Zoom is recording you guys. So it's recording not only the timestamp when you get in, but also when you go out. So it's very important that I have the visual and I have the time. And I'll explain the hours in a second, okay? But having the camera on is crucial. Once I review the hours that you've done, and if you're not there, then I will not count for those hours. And I'm sorry to start on that. It's just that I really need your cameras on, okay? Now, there's two questions here that I'm going to address right now. Can I use the 3rd edition textbook? You're thinking about 13th edition? 13th edition? Okay, because we're not using that book. We're using, let me show you real quick, and I'll come back to this later. We are using the Principles of Real Estate Practice in New Jersey. We're using this, the 2nd edition. Principles of Real Estate Practice in New Jersey. So we switched from the Dearborn book to this book. Okay, so it separates completely what is state and what is nationwide. So there's two segments. We're going to talk about the first portion is going to be the nationwide general or generic real estate portion of it. And then later on in the last week, we're going to go into the state only, state specific. All right. And there are several reasons why I did this, and I'm switching to this book. One of them is we're about to start teaching other states as well. So it's a lot easier to teach nationwide and then have smaller blocks for the state portion. The second reason is, again, because of the organization. It's a lot easier to study, even for state exam. It's a lot easier to study having things separate, knowing what's New Jersey and what's the general real estate, than when you have everything blended in. I love the Dearborn edition. That's the book that I'm used to for the past almost 5 years. So with that being said, this is the second time that I'm going to do this these few chapters. I started teaching this book last week. So might choke a little bit as I'm going through a few things. Real estate is real estate. Very comfortable with that. Been doing it for over 15 years as an investor, for almost 5 years as a realtor, and now having my own school, my own real estate company. So I'm very comfortable with real estate, as some people that are here from my previous classes, you already know. All right, so very comfortable with that. So I'll try to make this this entry or this journey into this new book as easy as it can get. All right. The other question that I had here was, how do I get access to the students portal? So Daniil, here's the thing. I'm going to show you in a little bit all that stuff. It's part of my course intro, so it's the first part of today. is the course intro. I'll show you our WhatsApp group. I'll show you our student portal and all the resources that you can have with it. We even have our own Quizlets, which is great. I just updated it to fit this book's pattern. For those of you that did Dearborn, or you still have the Dearborn, so Fallon, so for that question, the Dearborn portion of it is still there. I'm going to show you where you can find it if you want to use that to study with Quizlets. But I highly recommend you switch to the new book. Okay, and this book is also available in the student portal. All right, let's see who we got before I actually start. All right, cool. Make sure your cameras are on. Make sure the cameras are on you. All right, we're on YouTube Live, and Zenaida just said hi to me. Hey, Zenaida, how are you? Good morning. All right. So, let me show you real quick what we have. Sites. And this is the student portal. Now, for you to access the student portal, I'm going to put here this cool website, the main website. If you to access the student portal, you're going to see on the right-hand side, right here, you're going to see it says student login. Once you click on student login, it's going to bring you to a login, obviously, that you created when you purchased. If you did not, then let me know. I'm going to give you my number in a second. But let me know so I can give you a link for you to create. If you already created, then this is your student portal. If you are on your phone, you're going to have to scroll down to get to the information, or if you put it sideways, it's going to show you exactly the same way I have here. So here you go. It's going to show two things. I'm going to zoom in. So if you guys see here, it says new real estate salesperson for New Jersey. And I'm going to close this for a second, and then it's going to show old. So for those of you that are using the Dearborn edition, or you're just studying and just catching up with this one, like you're doing this as a review, then everything you had is going to be right here under old. And this will allow me to show you guys what's happening with the new as well. You're going to have, for instance, this was chapter 1 in the Dearborn edition, the 13th edition. And you're going to have class replay available, chapter pages, key terms review and quizzes, PowerPoints, and the link to the live class. Okay. For those of you that are still with Dearborn, you can go all the way down, course resources, and your Quizlet is still the same. It still takes you to the Quizlet version for Dearborn that I created. And the ebook is here. Again, this is just for those that are using the old book. I highly recommend you guys upgrade to the new book, but you have the PDF version. Again, every time you click here, this is the chapters. They are in order. So today's chapter, we're going to start real estate business. Then we're going to go into rights in real estate, interest in estates, and so on. The class replay is going to be uploaded. So the class from last week is going to be right here. The chapter pages are, so this is constantly being updated, and since it's a new book, these will be updated today. But you have the chapter pages, you're going to have some key terms review quizzes, PowerPoints as well. And every time you want to join the class, so you just go here, click on the link to live class, and it takes you right into Zoom. If for any reason that link is not working, which sometimes it's broken, I don't know how to explain why. There's nothing better than Zoom right now for what we are doing, so it's a little tough for me to tell you what the reason might be. But you can scroll all the way down to class resources, and you're going to see these things, which are very, very, very important. Let me zoom in one more. You have access to our Facebook group. You don't have to join Facebook group. You only join this one if you don't have WhatsApp group. Okay? So what I recommend is everybody to join the WhatsApp group, because that's where I make the announcement every morning on Facebook and WhatsApp I make the announcement every morning or every evening if you're doing the evening classes as well. I make the announcement of the actual Zoom link and what chapters we're covering that particular day, okay? Another thing that we have here is the ebook. So the ebook that I'm using today is going to be right here. So if you guys see here, it's this ebook. This ebook is already highlighted. It's the one I use for my presentation. This way you don't focus on highlighting, you focus more on taking notes. Okay, and the highlights, as I'll explain, whatever's in green is most likely to be in the exam or something of a call to action, just like the yellow. It will probably be in the exam. This is like most likely. This will probably in the exam. So it's just call to action, pay attention, and take some notes as I address these things, okay? So going back to the site, you have here access to the Quizlet. The Quizlet, like I said, it's a brand new Quizlet. So I've organized this Quizlet a little different than the previous one. In this Quizlet, we have folders. So we have real estate math, we have terms and acronyms that will help you. We have the New Jersey portion and nationwide portion. Once you click on nationwide, which is what we're addressing now, you're going to have all these Quizlets. These are flashcards. They could be games, just different ways to play it, but it's more a association type of game. It's not the actual exam, so don't use it to believe that that's going to be the answers on the exam. It's not. But use this for quick association, word association, term association. All right. So today we're doing a real estate business. It's not here because it's an intro, but then the other two are. So estates and interests are going to be here, and rights, they're going to be here. You just search by, look, for instance, right here. We have rights in real estate. Okay, it's going to be on the second half, for instance. And these are flashcards. So what guarantees the right of private ownership of real estate in the United States? And boom, Constitution. And there's different. You can play different ways. There's flashcards. There's learning, writing, spelling, testing. There's the match game, gravity. There's a bunch of different ways that you can use this, okay? But definitely join and take advantage of the Quizlet. Okay, going back here. Under the student portal still, if we scroll down, there's watch our past videos on our YouTube channel. So for you to access, you click on it and it takes you to right here. So this is our YouTube channel, and all the videos, this is being streamed live on YouTube. After we're done, it's recorded here. I do pick a few of these videos depending on their quality and depending on the length. I pick a few videos here to be the replay for the chapter. So you're going to find a few of these on the student portal. But here you go, a bunch of videos. Some of these are Q&A, so you can click on them. For instance, here. Here's a quick video explaining discount points. This is for mortgages. You're going to learn later on. But it explains. It's a video dedicated to this particular subject, to points. All right? I don't know who that guy is, but this is what's important, the whiteboard, okay? All right. If you want to access the YouTube Live, why the YouTube Live? If you're done with the chapters, with the course, and you don't want to keep on coming to class, which you're entitled to, you have up to 1 year to complete the course. That means you can join as many times as you want. You want to do morning and evening, evening and morning. You want to repeat it all over. Totally up to you. You have up to 1 year to do so. If you don't want to do it while in Zoom in a live participating class, you can also join the YouTube Live. I do address the questions on YouTube Live as well. So it's just, you don't have to be on camera, and it doesn't count your hours. So to count your hours, you have to be on the Zoom chat, on the Zoom call. If you're just doing a review and you want to be on live, you can. No cameras needed, but I'll still address your questions, okay? Once you complete 90% of the course, there's a button here that says, hey, test yourself. All right, do not use this right here unless you've completed 90% of the course. That means you're on the 4th week and you're almost done. It's time to test yourself to see where you are before taking the exam, okay? And you can take as many of these as you want. We pay for it, but we give it to you for free, so you have unlimited, like there's almost 600, a little bit over 600, I'm sorry, right now, a little bit over 600 questions that you can practice, okay? So all that is available for you for free, included with your tuition. Once you pass the exam, or before you pass the exam, it's totally up to you. You can do fingerprinting. And this is going to take you to a video, which is being updated because they changed already the way you do things for fingerprinting. But it takes you to a page that says, follow these steps in this video and print the form below. Here's the steps on how to register. Here it is. Schedule your fingerprints. Get the fingerprinting form. So all the information is available to you right from the student portal. Which brings us to the next one. If you pass the school, or I'm sorry, when you pass the school exam, then you have to schedule the state exam. So you're going to click on this video right here, on this link right here, and it takes you to another video on how to schedule your exam. So again, the only thing I can't do for you guys is take the exam, but I think I've put everything here for you guys. Every step of the way. I know I'm going to repeat all this over the next couple of weeks because nobody remembers day 1. It's tough to remember day 20, but nobody remembers day 1. So I'll repeat these as many times as I can or as you want. But the bottom line is to show you guys you have a whole student portal available for you. Okay. So very, very important that you take advantage of this. Another thing that I added, guys, was this. It's recommended books. It's right at the bottom. Sorry. Right after class calendar, I added recommended books to succeed in career and in your career and in life. And once you click on that, it's going to take you to this right here. It's like my own personal library, and I'm constantly adding a few books that I feel that are important for your life. So the very first book that's there is Start With Why, and I think it's a very important book for you to start with. Why? Because if you don't know why you're doing this, then what's the point of doing it? All right. Without understanding the why, you'll never understand what to do or how to do it, and that's what the author Simon Sinek always talks about. There's a lot of people that start doing something because, oh, real estate is great. That's what you need to do, is take a class. Right? So how do you do this? And then you learn here. And then after a week, 2 weeks, or even a year of being a licensed salesperson, is like, why did I do this? What's the point? Okay, so anything you do in life, start with why are you doing this? Okay, very, very important. Start with why. The next thing we have is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This is a book that will change or shift your mindset from employee to employer or independent contractor or whatever, a business person, right? Very important. And I think you guys already made that shift by being here, because you're going to be independent and you make some extra money, or you make this a full-time career, whatever you want. But this book definitely helps you shift. For those of you, if you get to the point where, and I'm not going to go over all the books, but for those of you that get to the point where like, oh, what if this doesn't work out for me? Your question should be, what if it does work out? All right. Do you know the majority of people that start something, their biggest worry is not if it doesn't work out, is what if it does, what am I going to do with it? All right. Maybe subconsciously, that's what your brain is telling you. If this does work out, will I be overwhelmed? Will I be able to handle it? Well, if it does work out, figure that out later. All right. You guys good? Is this good stuff? All right, great. So here's the thing, the final thing, and we're going to move forward. All right, so the final thing, we're going to move forward. We're going to talk about the hours. Okay, so for this course, as a salesperson, you need to do 75 hours. What does that mean? It means we have, in this particular book, we have 30 chapters. which are nationwide, and then state is a total of 30 chapters. And the 75 hours is what the Real Estate Commission thinks is enough to cover all the chapters. With that being said, guys, if you miss chapter 1 as an example, you don't have to make it up. If you miss chapter 2, you don't have to make it up. If you miss chapter 3, you don't have to make it up. If you miss more than that, you're going to have to make up a few chapters. Because what we are allowed to do, and you have that on your on the website and on your student registration, what we are allowed to do is give you a 10% leeway. What does that mean? You can miss 10% of the course. So what is 10%? It could be a day or two, or it could be coming in late, leaving early, whatever it might be. But you have to, if it's more than 10% that you miss, you have to make up the hours. All right, very, very important. How do you make up the hours? The next class. So figure out what the schedule is for the next class and try and make it up. So right now, you guys are 1 week ahead of the evening class. This is very important. If you want to make up, let's say you already know you're going to miss next week on Tuesday. Well, tomorrow's class in the evening should cover whatever Tuesday is. You just have to let me know, and I'll tell you what the night schedule is going to be. Besides being shared on the WhatsApp group, okay? Speaking of which, guys, it's in the student portal, but I'm giving it to you guys right now, the access to the to the WhatsApp group. So you can join right now. Okay. So that link right there that I just sent you guys is to join the WhatsApp group. Make sure you join as soon as you can, because in the WhatsApp group is where you guys are going to have not only the links every day for the Zoom sessions, morning and evening, but also the students have been helping each other out. So this is like a group study group without having the group study. So people help each other out, and I just jump in as needed to address whatever I think it's incorrect or to clarify even better. Okay, there you go. Thank you. 2 people just joined. What's the number? So I can tell you my phone number. I will. But it's not a number for the WhatsApp group. It's the link that I just posted for you guys, okay? I'll post it again. It's in the student portal as well. There you go. Thank you. As far as my number, guys, it's 908-418-8325. That's my cell phone number. Do not call me, okay? So I'm giving you my number. If you have any questions, send me messages on WhatsApp. It's my preferred method of communication. It's a lot easier for me to manage through WhatsApp. Send me as many messages as you need to for me to address your question. If it's an emergency, I will address it right away. And again, don't be afraid of reaching out to me, okay? Okay, 5 people joined. Cool. So you guys got the link. Just write it down, and you can do it later. You can do it now. It's up to you. All right. So don't forget, 75 hours. You need to complete those. We're gonna be here for. It's from 10 to 2, so it's 4 hours. But some days it's gonna be shorter. Some days it's gonna be right on time. Most of the days I can tell you we're going to finish at least half an hour earlier, okay? But be ready to be for up to 2 o'clock. All right? Let's see. I'm going to do a quick roll call again, making sure everybody's joined before we start the chapter. So I got Amy, I got Lee, Rocio, Daniil, I have Riza, Jacqueline, Alondra, Katrina, Nee. Okay, make sure you guys, very important, you put your full name as it is on your ID. That's also very important. We got Elda, we got David, Fallon, Brittany, Romello. Shadari, you need to have your camera on. Kieran, you're watching. Okay. Carlos, great. We got Pedro, Olga, and Chopin. All right, cool. All right, guys. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start right now. For those of you, yeah, Kieran, I can tell. For those of you that don't have the book because you didn't get to the student portal or whatever it might be, here you go. Here's the link to download this ebook. Click there, and it'll go directly to the to this ebook for now. Okay, click on it. Right. All right. Give me a thumbs up if you got the book. You access it. You're good. Great. If you're watching on YouTube, again, we're using this book right here. It's called Principles of Real Estate Practice. If you want to study with the Dearborn, we do have recorded. So go to the previous previous videos on my YouTube channel, and all those videos are there, every single chapter. All right. So right now, jumping into chapter 1, ready to start. And we're going to talk about the real estate business. Now, this is an intro into real estate. Guys, if I go a little fast on chapter 1, it's literally just an intro. So just trying to push through for us to actually get to chapter 2 and 3, which will be today's chapters, okay? If you're not understanding something, drop it in the Zoom chat or start waving your hands because I can see you. It's totally up to you, but drop in the Zoom chat. The rule is very simple. If you have a question, just put a question mark like I just did before you start asking the question. This way I know you're typing and I don't move forward and leave you behind. Does that make sense? This way we don't have to go back. So if you have a question, Topan, okay. If you have a question, just drop the question mark and I'll address it. Zenaida, you're welcome. You can't open the link? It says still loading. Okay. I sent it to you on WhatsApp as well, Topan. Okay, so check your WhatsApp, it's there. Maybe it's faster. All right, cool. So again, if I go too fast, just let me know. Drop the question mark if you have any questions, and I'll stop. So as far as the real estate business, it says right here that in its broadest sense, the real estate industry is the largest single industry in the American economy, and we all know this. Without real estate, we wouldn't exist. That's the growth of the country was through real estate. There's other businesses, small and medium businesses that support this growth, obviously, because without business, there's no commerce. Without commerce, there's no purchasing power. So very important. But real estate is what really established this country. Now, within it, one might include construction industry, as I was just mentioning itself, often considered our country's largest business. And in addition, real estate industry may set to include the creation, management, demolition of every residence and business facility in the nation, offices, warehouses, factories, stores, and special purpose buildings, okay, such as hospitals and government facilities. Now, the real estate business would include, as well as managing all of the undeveloped land in the country, includes national parks, forests, and the vast quantity of unused federal property. So real estate includes also government-owned property. All right, I'm sorry, I have a question here. Somali, you do have access to the student portal. Send me a message separately on WhatsApp, and I'll address that later. 908-418-8325, and I'll address it later, okay? All right, so right here, real estate professionals, you guys, you are individuals and business organizations whose sole enterprise is performing real estate related services or function. So, without addressing anything after this, you need to understand that what we do is a service or a function, meaning we help others by consulting, by facilitating the transaction. That's what we do. We don't sell, we don't buy, right? We facilitate the transaction. Now, a wide range of profession is available to persons wishing to enter real estate business. Real estate professionals can perform the following property-related activities: creation, improvement, management and maintenance, demolition, investment, regulation, and transfer. Creation and improvement, this is obvious, right? Is you're helping a developer somehow, taking raw land, right? And we help them figure out capital formation, financing, construction, contracting, and regulatory approvals. The key parties involved in this aspect of the business are generally the developer, landowner, and mortgage lender. Also involved are market analysts, architects, engineers, space planners, interior designers, and construction subcontractors. Again, I'm just going a little fast because it's a quick intro. Experts who manage the legal aspects of the development project include real estate attorneys, title companies, surveyors, property insurance companies, and government regulatory officials. And the brokerage community, with the assistance of professional appraisers, usually handles the ownership and leasing transactions that occur over many phases of the development. So as realtors, we could be part of every transaction, even on the creation and improvements. So there's something called pre-construction sales. So as it's being developed, we can start selling something that's going to happen in the future. All right. So we actively participate even in the creation and improvement, if that's going to be your specialization. There's management and maintenance. You could be a property manager. Now, all real estate, whether raw land or improved property, must be managed and maintained, and the two principal types of managers are property managers and asset managers. Property managers and their staff, they oversee specific properties on behalf of the owners, making sure that the condition of the property and its financial performance meets specific standards. So the main objective of a property manager is maintenance and upkeep of the property, because if we maintain and upkeep, what happens to the value? It holds steady or increases, right? As far as asset managers, they oversee groups of properties or portfolios, and their role is to achieve the investment objectives of the owners as opposed to managing day-to-day operations. So day-to-day operations, property managers, okay? Asset managers, they invest in more properties, let's put it like that. Maintenance personnel include engineers, system system technicians, janitorial staff, and other employees needed to maintain the property condition. Where it says demolition, demolition experts in conjunction with excavation and debris removal experts, they serve to remove properties that are no longer economically viable from the market. All right? Sometimes it's not worth for you to fix or rehab a property. Might as well just take it down. The overall structure doesn't make any sense. For some investors, catches by surprise. Right? As an investor, sometimes you look at the property and you think it's a good property. All we have to do is this, all we have to do is that, right? And you'll be turnkey, ready to go, right? Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes you have to really, as you start taking down walls, you realize, oh, wait a minute, this is in worse shape than I thought it was. So demolition is the optimum. Okay. All right. Investment ownership, a specialized niche in the real estate market. By the way, I'm not too crazy about how to pronounce things. So niche is French word. You want to say niche, you can say niche. You can say niche. You can say whatever works for you. I don't teach English, okay? I teach real estate. Just make sure you know what it is. Every time you see the word niche or niche, whatever you want to say it, it means your specialization. What is your focus? What is your main thing, okay? So a specialized niche or niche in the real estate business is the real estate investor who risks capital in order to buy, hold, and sell properties. All right. In contrast to property owners whose primary interest is in some other business, the real estate investor focuses in identifying and exploiting the real estate investment opportunities for profit. So you're going to have a lot of investors, especially in the market that's upcoming, right? That what they want is they want to invest in the property and reap the benefits later. Where the majority of homeowners, that's what they are, homeowners. They buy the property. It's the only property they'll ever buy, probably. Their single most valuable investment is the property that they'll buy. And they'll live and they'll die on that property. Meaning they just want a place to live and not pay somebody else's mortgage or rent, right? So that's the difference between investor and homeowner. Regulations, and by the way, guys, we're going to go over all this in detail in the next chapters. Regulation. All real estate is, to some degree, regulated by government. The principal areas of regulation are usage, taxation, and housing administration. Professional regulatory functions include public planners, zoning administrators, building inspectors, assessors, administrators of specific federal statutes such as federal fair housing laws, and so on. So again, we're going to go over all this in the next few chapters. Transfer. How can transfer or conveyance occur? And we're going to talk about this various times. The word conveyance. Because transfer means conveyance. Okay? How can conveyance occur? So there's, and this is not the Cardi B sound, okay? It's occur, like O-C-C-U-R. Okay? So how can it happen? Okay, let's translate it to different English. How can it happen? Transfers. They could be bought, they could be sold, they could be assigned, they can be leased, they can be exchanged, inherited, or otherwise transferred from one owner to another. Sorry. Real estate brokers and broker salespeople are generally centrally involved in such transfers. So the majority of the sales and exchanges in the United States, so over 80% of those, are done with a salesperson. Okay, so that's a cool thing because real estate doesn't happen nowadays without you. The for sale by owners are becoming very rare to happen compared to the other sales. All right. Now, other professional participants are mortgage brokers, mortgage bankers, appraisers, insurers, and title companies, which you guys should have this as a team, meaning you should have a mortgage broker or banker that you work with, one or two of those. You should have an appraiser. Usually nowadays, the lenders have their own appraiser, but you have an insurance company and title company on your roster. Why? Because when a client comes to you to buy a house, most of the times, they don't know what to do. So you should be able to tell them, hey, if you don't have anybody to pre-approve you, I can recommend a few people, okay? Which also there's a little drawback there, because if the recommendation goes wrong, then they're gonna say, hey, you're the one that referred me to this person or that person. But you know, we can never predict what's gonna happen. But always have a team, 2 or 3 people in each of these categories to help you, okay? Very, very important. So this is a summary right here, the specialties. In creating, these are the people that are involved in the creation portion of it. In the managing and maintaining portion, here you go. Destroying, holding, regulating, and transferring. We are mainly here in the transfer portion of it. Now, in addition to specializing by function, many professionals also specialize in the type of property that they work with. According to the purpose of ownership, properties are classified as residential, commercial, or investment properties. Now, this is common sense. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'm pretty sure you guys know residential is where I live. Commercial is business, for instance. Investment property could be a mix of any of these, because you're investing by renting to other people, whether it's residential, commercial, industrial, manufacturing, whatever it might be. That's an investment property, okay? Here are the classifications. All right. Next, we got real estate brokerage. Make sure if this is the first time you're doing this, you have your cameras on. Very important. I don't see, some of you don't have cameras, and I know you're new, so I'm going to keep on repeating this. Cameras, and the camera must be on you. I need to see you guys there, okay? Real estate brokerage, forms of specialization, skills, and knowledge. Now, most newly licensed practitioners choose to begin their real estate careers in residential brokerage. You know why? Residential first? Because it's the easiest. There's a huge, well, actually, I wouldn't say the easiest, but there's the volume. They're easier to close. Let's put it like that, meaning in terms of time frame. So because there's a huge volume and it's easily accessible, there's high demand. There's always somebody who wants to buy, somebody wants to sell, somebody wants to rent. Because it's in higher demand, most new licensees, they go for residential first. After they get their feet wet, they start looking at other types of properties, so commercial. The problem with commercial is that you can have a sale or a rental once a year. Will it pay for all the other smaller residential? Probably, but it's something that happens like once a year or twice a year or something like that. It's not a regular basis. You guys understand what I'm saying? So most people will go for residential to begin with. The primary real estate brokerage activities involve performance of one of the following tasks: locating a buyer for a seller, locating a seller for a buyer, tenant for a landlord, or landlord for a tenant. So it's simple. It's either somebody to sell, somebody to buy, or somebody to rent. Simple as that. Now, in modern brokerage environments, brokers and agents specialize in the following lines. Not only do we specialize in the property type, but also within the specific geographical area. So I'll give you my example. I'm in Newark and I don't like to leave Newark. If I have a lead that's outside of Newark, I refer to one of my colleagues that works outside of Newark, or if I don't have anybody, I'll find somebody that's outside of the agency that'll be there and still collect a referral fee to our brokerage. So specializing in the geographical area is very important. In the beginning, guys, you're going to be all over the place. What does that mean? You're going to take over New Jersey, right? And then you're going to put your own ad where Amy sells New Jersey, okay? So that's what you guys are going to do. Or Lee sells New Jersey, or Daniil sells New Jersey. The thing about that is that you're all over the place. You're wasting gas. You're destroying your car. You're not being efficient or effective, right? So it's very important that you start looking at, the first thing is, where's going to be my market? And how do you define market? It depends. Let's start with property type. You want to go residential, commercial, investment properties, right? Do you want to be in the Newark area, Linden area? You have to look at where you're most comfortable with. That's the first thing to look at a market. What are you most comfortable with? Something that people ask you, hey, I want to be next to a supermarket, as an example. And you say, oh, I know exactly where that is. It's right off of 5th, right there. And there's a house for sale right here. So that's perfect for you. Oh, but also needs to be near a school. Well, that's just great, because right behind 5th, there's this school. You see what I'm saying? So people need to ask you questions, and you should be able to, boom, right there. All the information about this property or this area, I know it. Okay? So the geographical area traditionally is what you're most comfortable with. Now, it could change based on demands. So let's say you're living in an area where there's not many sales. That shouldn't be your market, because then you're going to be stuck. So check your surrounding area, another town that you might be comfortable with, and go there, right? The type of transaction. Okay, again, so let me address all these three. I'm sorry. The type of transaction, type of client, type of relationship. A lot of you want to deal with the family members and friends first. A lot of you don't want to deal with family members and friends. A lot of you want to deal with conventional buyers versus FHA buyers. This will all be clear later on. But there's just different types of understanding of what your market is going to be, how you're going to funnel and find your ideal, what we call avatar. Avatar is your ideal client and market. So once you identify that, your life will be a lot easier. Okay? So very important. And when I say avatar, is not the one from the movie, okay? Avatar is your ideal client. So again, property type. Okay, I don't know how that happened. Carlos just interrupted my class. Carlos Mascara, you are in trouble. All right. So again, property type, geographical area, type of transaction, the type of client, as we were just talking about, and the type of relationship. Very important. What are some of the things that we do for clients? We do CMAs. If you ever heard of CMAs, not the Country Music Awards, okay? CMAs are comparative market analysis. So we're going to look at other properties in the area to figure out what's the value of your property, the one you're trying to buy or the one you're trying to sell. Database search. We do this all the time. We search for information regarding the property, regarding clients. Prospect screening. We have to make sure that the buyer is able to buy. So we do, or the tenant is able to rent. So we do prospect screening for our clients. We ask the buyer, hey, show me the money. How can they do that? Cash in the bank or pre-approval. So show me that, and then we'll be able to move forward. And site analysis, we're going to talk about later. You literally have to walk the property for anything that could indicate that that's not true value. Meaning, sometimes, as I said earlier, there's an appearance. It looks like it's a great property, right? But as you're walking through the property, you figure out, oh, wait a minute, there's a spot on the ceiling. Could that be a leak? Let's ask questions. So it's your job to look for that. Or underground storage tanks. You might not be able to see it, but there are some signs that tell you there could be tanks below. Okay. So this brings you to knowledge and skills. So again, a few of the things that I was telling you guys is knowing the local market conditions, properties, principles. Real estate law is a must, definitely. How to value a property. So you're going to learn how to estimate values of properties. Real estate financing. You don't have to be the pro at mortgages, but you have to know the pro and you know the basics. So you can ask questions to the pro. Does that make sense? Investment principles. You don't have to be an investor, but you have to know the basics. That will be later on. License laws, also very important. I'm sure everybody loves this one, right? You have to know how to do math, very important. If you don't know how to do math, nowadays we have tools that calculate everything for us. But I will show you, I have a chapter just for math, and I'll bring the basics to you guys. And this one, closing procedures. Look, we're not the ones that close. We're not the ones that prepare documents. We're not the ones that handle any of the closing transaction. But again, just like with everything else I was saying, you need to know the basics so then you can challenge the professionals if they're slacking. And believe me, if it's not you slacking, it's going to be somebody else slacking. In a real estate transaction, if everything was ideal, we could close probably in less than a month, every single transaction. But unfortunately, there's always that tug of war. Like somebody's pushing to one side or pushing to the other, and then forgetting this, and then forgetting that, and then one slips and grabs again, and so on. So transactions take on average 2 to 3 months now. All right? Could be sooner, it could be later, but an average of 2 to 3 months. So you guys need to know the process and be able to call out the people that are supposed to be the pros. So again, you need to, now that you have the knowledge, when you're done with this course, you'll have the knowledge. The next thing you need to do is develop the skills. And again, everything we just went over, even basic operation, computer operation is very important because everything now is e-signature, everything is e-everything. All right? You guys have any questions so far before I move forward? Again, I'm just trying to get over with the intro, so we go right into the chapter. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat and I'll address it, okay? Where it says professional trade organizations, the reason why these exist, and I'll show you a few in a second, the reason why these organizations exist is to help you develop yourself. So through professional organizations, there are specialized courses. So if your niche is going to be commercial, you should get CCIM, which is a training. They'll give you the CCIM designation, and it's focused for commercial properties. If you're going to do residential, there's CRS, Certified Residential Specialist, and you take that course. If you're going to be a property manager, you do CPM, Certified Property Manager, through some of these different professional organizations. But again, it's only for whatever you specialize in. All right. So here are the trade organizations: American Society of Appraisers, American Society of Home Inspectors, Building Owners and Managers Association for property managers. I was telling you about the CCIM, right? Right here, IRM, so Institute of Real Estate Management, as a CPM certificate, Certified Property Manager. Okay, you have a bunch of them here. National Association of Exclusive Buyers Agents, Women's Council of Realtors, Appraisal Institute, Realtors Land Institute, Real Estate Education Association, National Association of Realtors, and so on. There's a bunch of different associations to help you reach your goal. Sorry, real quick. Have your message from Celine. You're fired. All right. Zelene's asking, where can I find this? I tried to click on the chapter pages, and all it did was bring me back to the same page. I'm sorry, Zelene. Can you tell, where can you find what exactly? I'm sorry. We are, if you're looking for the page, we're on page 14 right now. Zelene, let me know before I move forward. I'll make sure we're on the same page. All right, Zalim, do me a favor. Send me a message on WhatsApp, 908-418-8325, and I'll send you the link there again to the book. Maybe over there it will help you. All right. Also, guys, don't send me any message on Zoom. Don't send me any message privately, because if you send a message private, it still shows up. I'll show you right now. It still shows up regardless. The difference for me is that when I go to reply, I'll reply just to one person. It will not reply to all. So I want to keep everything in the Zoom as a reply to all. Okay. All right. So, regulation and licensing. Zelene, I'm moving forward. Once you send me, if you cannot access, again, send me a message on WhatsApp and I'll address it there. All right, cameras. Make sure you guys keep the camera on and on you. If I don't see you, then Zoom doesn't see you. If Zoom doesn't see you, then it doesn't count your hours. Guys, some of you don't have the camera on. Very, very important. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking to my kids. I keep on repeating it. My youngest, my 2-year-old, I say, don't do this. And he goes, he does exactly what I tell him not to do. All right, so children, cameras on, everybody. Come on, cameras on. There you go. All right, cool. So regulation and licensing. There you go. The real estate industry is regulated by every level of the government, federal and state statutes, as well as a large body of court decisions, generally referred to as common law, circumscribe how real estate can be developed, managed, and transferred. So obviously, you cannot do whatever you want with the property, right? Or as a realtor, you cannot do whatever you want either. There are certain regulations, and then there's ethics. And ethics are very, very important in this business, as you'll learn as we go. So among the laws most relevant to agents and brokers are those related to agency, contracts, disclosure, environmental impact, and fair housing. So agency is pretty much the relationship between the employer and employee. So we'll go over this more in detail later, so don't worry so much about it right now. But agency is when somebody hires you, the seller, hires you to be their salesperson. You created an agency where the seller is your employer and you are the employee. If a buyer comes to you and says, I want to hire you to find me a house, an agency was now created. So when we say agency, it's not real estate agency or real estate brokerage. Agency is the relationship between an employer and an employee, okay? Or contracted for service. It creates the agency. With that comes certain duties that you have to perform. One of them being disclosure. One of them being you having to disclose anything that could affect the transaction. Anything you know that could affect the transaction. It's always client first, and that's what agency creates. Client first, so seller first or buyers first, whoever hires you. You have to learn how to prepare contracts, or at least know the basics of a contract. How certain things could affect the environment, so we'll talk about that later. And fair housing is about discrimination. You're going to learn that you cannot discriminate or you could lose your license. Okay, so this is a focal point in this book, because once you start your business, whatever your personal beliefs are should be out the door. Okay, what I'm saying here is you cannot see color, you cannot see religion, you cannot see any other national background. So if they're from a different country, you cannot see gender. You have to see one color only. All right. Does anybody know? Let me know in the chat if you know which color I'm talking about. What color can we see in this business? Help me out. Let me know in the chat. Do you know which color we can see? Thank you, Amy. Absolutely. Yep, that's right, guys. The green. All right. Don't send me anything private, please. It still shows up here and then forces me to do one more click. Change to everyone. All right, so green is the color you have to see. Why? Because if you do a good job, you will get the green, the money. You will close and get paid for it. If you do a bad job, you could still get paid, but there's a potential for lawsuits against you. And then you have to pay back the money and more. So what you guys are going to learn with ethics and everything else is that client first. Okay? You're going to learn how to handle escrow deposits and fees, how to advertise, properly advertise, and dealing with clients and customers. Okay? All right, guys. So that was it for chapter 1. I'm going to give you guys a quick breather because I know intro is tough. So I'm going to give you guys just a quick 5 minutes. Actually, let's see. 11:20. So a quick break. 11:20 we'll be back, and then we jump into chapter 2, and we'll see how we go for chapter 3 as well. Okay, so quick 7-minute break. We'll be right back. See you in a bit.